It's time for us to sit down at the table and turn this chaos into something stable. For love, one on one. We will not accept defeat, not on our land, not in our streets. Getting it done, reaching out to save the youth, letting them know the truth. Slim Nation is where good conversations dwell, positive affirmations where make a strong nation as we spread the love. Slim Nation is where good conversation.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Slim Nation's One-on-Ones podcast. I'm Slim Overton, of course, and no, that wasn't me singing. I know a lot of you all thought that was me, but that wasn't me. I can only do that in the shower. Anywhere else, dogs holler.
I did want to ask you though, who is that? I like that song.
That's one of my neighbors from down the street. I'll think his name in a little bit, middle phrase, but I think I heard you have your volume up. You're sharing it because I can hear the feedback.
Yeah, I just shared it, so maybe I need to. But I'm not live, so maybe I need to cut my volume down a little bit.
Down the street, I'll think his name in a little bit. Middle phrase, but I think I heard you have your volume up. You're sharing it because I can hear the feedback. Yeah, can you hear the feedback coming through this feed?
Yeah, I just heard the echo, but all I did was just share the video. I'm not live. Right?
Okay, if it's not bothering you, it'd be okay. All right. Now we have a evening show. We're usually in the morning, but we have a special evening show, and I'm glad it's called Mr. and Mr. And I'm glad Mr. Barry Randall-Jenkins and Mr. Justin, aka Jay Randall-Jenkins, agreed to come on here and have a conversation with me. And first, before we go there, I want to just met Jay not too long ago. I've been seeing him around with you, Barry. But Barry, you and I go back quite a bit. And the first time I saw you was on your Facebook page, and you were in a tub. You remember that? A bubble bath tub. A lot of us remember that. But and I saw that, I said, "Oh, okay. Well, how brave was that?" But anyway, I saw that and I said, "Who does that?" But anyway, later on, I saw what you were doing with the youth through your church. And, I really supported that and came on. And then I saw you sort of transition into politics, and started making a name for yourself. And people knew you didn't hold back. And we even had our run-ins. But I remember what Louise Lucas and a lot of other people said in politics: no permanent friends and no permanent enemies. And I took it past politics, because my father told me a long time ago, you never know down the road who you might need to work with or do something with. So holding grudges, it can't be for life, in most cases. So, and I wanted to also tell, I really appreciated during that time. Then I went in to get the heart transplant. And I never forgot that video after I got the transplant, the videos you sent from the youth out of your church, congratulating me for the. Yeah. And I never forget that. That really touched my new heart. So thanks for that. But that was our beginnings there. And I just want to say, you jumped in the community work and politics with both feet. And, some people, if they had to be held accountable, you would hold them accountable. They might be your frenemy one week and your definitely friends one week, even going on, I'll mention Elizabeth Simmons, even going on cruises with her. But that just goes to prove this, what I said earlier. And everything was concentrated on what you were doing in the community. It never really came up to my knowledge. Now you can tell me different. If anybody was questioning who you were dating or what your preference was, that didn't come up because everything was concentrated on what you were doing in the community. Let me know, did that ever come up, to you personally? Did anybody ever question you personally? What were you, what was your preference?
I think a little bit back during the day, and it's funny because even he and I are friends today, Jermaine Green. I don't know if you remember when I originally ran for mayor back in 2016, and certain people were reaching out to him, and it really wasn't him; it was just
I
people,
remember those videos that he put out.
Yes, telling him that I was gay and just a lot of ugly things and things that were not true. In reference to other stuff, the gay part, yes, but in retrospect to, I remember they were saying I was getting high and I was buying drugs and and getting high, and it's so funny because I found out things about me that I didn't even know about me, and that's what I tell my husband when it comes down to this, because he sees so many people and he's just smiling and, oh, I saw this person and I saw that person. He just be smiling, and in my heart, he don't even know this part, but in my heart I be praying. I'm like, God, please guard him, please protect him, because he doesn't know the game of politics fully yet. He see it on TV and he doesn't realize that we make TV look like heaven, like we can get very brutal. And it's just sad because unfortunately, but the senator is right, and you said it best: no permanent friend, no permanent enemy. And you don't really realize this, Slim, until we also call James Slim. You don't understand this really until you walk in it yourself. Like, I'm pretty sure people, I'm not pretty sure, people were questioning my motives as to why I was doing what I was doing for the senator this past weekend. Oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this for her, and you wasn't even supporting her, and she said this and she did that. And I listened to the person, and I told him, I said, listen, I said, half of, if not all of what you're saying is true, but what you cannot deny is that what I'm doing for her, she's deserving of it. So even if me and she and I don't speak in terms, we're good with each other right now, but even if we wasn't, you still can't deny the work that she has done for over 40 years. And when this the thing, James, we talk about 40 years, you and I both know it. You don't just jump into this thing. Before she was a politician, she was doing what you and I do. I followed in your footsteps. You was following in her footsteps. She was out there working in the community. She was out there doing things. She was the president of the NAACP. So at the end of the day, she's really been doing this for about 50 some odd years. You know what I mean? Over half a century. So she's very deserving of what she gets. So like I said, when I see my husband now, and it caused me to even be careful on how I do things, because I don't want his feelings hurt. You know what I mean? Because, for example, he used to seeing everybody, Miss Costello, the professor, Cynthia Morrison, just different people around. And that would probably hurt my heart if I was have to tell him, oh, we can't speak to Miss Costello tomorrow. You get what I'm not just using that as an example. You know what I mean? Like, or tomorrow we ain't talking to her because she our enemy, or we're not talking to Miss Morrison because she our enemy, because he hasn't experienced any of that. So it's my prayer that he doesn't get to experience that, because I'm hoping that we have laid the foundation for those coming behind us to say, hey, we can disagree, but it doesn't have to get to the point to where we get ugly. Because you can admit, Jane, it was ugly. You remember?
It was some ugly times. And you talked about Senator Lucas. I go way back there with her, and over the years, and we've had some real big disagreements, but I always respected what she was doing. And I never thought that I would just stop talking to her or just not vote for her, because what she was doing was important, was bigger than me being upset over one policy or something she said. So and then that's the way, I mean, we talked about our differences, but we've had shows together where people came to me and say, I can't believe you did a show with Barry. I said, well, it wasn't about Barry, it was about the subject that we were doing.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, when people recognize that it's not about us, you know what I mean? Because I I can look at Lisa, and she probably don't even remember. Lisa called me a fat bear before. You know what I mean? We've all had it out with each other. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
the beauty of it, because I think the core is, and you used to always say this, I don't know if you remember, but you used to always say, we got to look at the bigger picture of what's important. Portsmouth.
Mm-hmm.
You used to always drive Portsmouth home. And that's
Yeah.
the thing for me.
Yeah, because the emotions we had, that's a human behavior. You know, we get mad and, you know, turn our lips up and say, well, you know, see each other one time, so I ain't speaking to him. Or, you know, but like I said, the bigger picture was more important. So, so let's get into, you know, how did you and, you know, you and Jay meet? And you know, we talked about, did you have any issues with people leading up to it? You know, how to, you
Right.
know,
I was dating a gentleman, and he had lied. I don't know if you remember, because I try to make my life as transparent and approachable, and I do this for a reason, Jay. People always say, "Oh, you just tell everything." Well, the reason why I do it, because when I'm ready to do something or trying to do something, I don't want no one, like, for example, if I decide to step out in 2026 to run for council or school board or whatever, I don't need nobody being able to come out and say, well, did y'all know about this? Because you witnessed it with me. You know, I've been to court. This man don't even have a clue. I used to tell him, you don't even know who you marrying, brother, because I'd have been to court with politicians. I done had the police, had the state outside my house. I had death threats. People don't realize that Portsmouth, we get very, very passionate, and it can get very, very ugly. So I was dating a gentleman, and he never told me that he was dealing with a young lady still. You know, he was in a relationship with a young lady, and that girl came to my house, threw a brick through the window, bust down the door, and set my car on fire. You remember that when I shared
I
the
remember
video
that.
about
Yeah.
and you know, and I didn't know. And DeAndre Bonds just happened to call me about it because he knew the girl, or either the girl knew him, brother. So my mind was racing. At the time, I thought DeAndre had something to do with it. It was just very, very ugly. So it was a very ugly relationship, because, like I said, the gentleman, he lied to me. And that's the thing. I tell people all the time, secrets are of the devil. You know, you got to keep a whole bunch of secrets, and you got to live a lie and all that type of stuff. What you think gonna come out of that? You know, not much too good is gonna come out of that. So, you know, I went through it for about a year or two, and going into the second year, he and I were, you know, like I said, split up. The guy and I, we were split up. All of Portsmouth knew about it. People were posting stuff on Facebook. And at that point, I said, well, you know, I got to face this, you know. So I was determined that if I got another relationship, it wasn't going to be a secret relationship. It wasn't going to be, you know, because if a person were to ask me my preference, I was always honest with people if they were to ask me. But I guess my political life and my community life overshadowed everything else, that no one ever thought to think to ask me, you know what I mean? Or even think, well, Barry, why are you not married? Or you're a pastor, why are you not with someone? I guess people never even really thought to ask. So anyway, I saw this guy, he's from Chesapeake, and you know, I was just flirting with him, you know, in a professional way. You know, I told him, I said, you're not from here.
What's flirting in a professional way? What is that?
Yeah.
Flirting in a professional way is kind of like, for example, I saw him and I said, you're not from around here, are you? And he said, no. And I said, yeah, because, you know, Portsmouth could not have given birth to something as beautiful as you and as handsome as you.
Now,
And
that's a straight out. That's a straight out line, right. Barry. I mean, you went for it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I had to say it because I wanted to see how he was going to react. Because, you know, some guys, they, you know, you get them, you kind of even look at them wrong. They're ready to fight. So he smiled, and, you know, so I said, okay, well, at least he's not, you know, he could accept that part and whatever the case may be. And he told me, he's like, no, I'm not from here. And I'm like, yeah, I knew you couldn't have been, because like I said, Portsmouth didn't make nothing that handsome and beautiful. And he smiled and said, thank you, and what have you. And then we just talked a little bit, and then I ran into him again. I kept running into him either at the 7-Eleven or the Wawa gas station or something like that. And it got to the point I was driving the school bus one day and I saw him and I blew the horn at him and I stopped the bus. I didn't have no children on the bus, Lord. Let me say that part.
Say that first.
They're gonna rewind this tape and they're gonna send it to the school board. No children was on the bus. And he asked me straight up, "Are you stalking me?"
I did think that. I did think this.
He thought I was stalking him.
Not literally, but it's like
that was still in the business like realm, right?
Yeah, like run into him over and over again. Now he like started to question, but
and I didn't know at the time he was kind of in the business of with Paramount, like sales, like going door to door.
Yeah, I was a director of marketing for Paramount, so I would run teams that canvas, believe it or not, that actually canvas, and I would train them and show them the ropes of going like door to door. So like I was outside honestly I think it's like kind of weird because now with election season, there's like flyers and like people asking to help out.
Second nature.
And I was just like, I don't think you really know who you got right now.
Because I've kind of like volunteered him to like 4 or 5 different people canvassing, so they already know they can call on him. Because like I said, that goes right with it. So I didn't know why he was always nearby the stores or walking and doing stuff. So finally, I kept trying to get him over to come eat. I didn't even know he was a chef at the time. I kept trying to get him to come eat and what have you. And he would lie and tell me, okay. And he would get my number. I gave him my phone number at least 4 times. He never called, James. He never called me. And then finally out of the blue, like 4 or 5 months down the road, he called me and I was shocked. So, then I'm like, okay, what you want? Because I'm mad. Because I'm like, furthermore, you don't turn me down. I'm the people pastor. You know what I mean? I am Portsmouth. In my head, I'm like, you don't know who you did. I am Portsmouth. So first of all, why are you calling me 5 or 6 months down the road? So he began to start this Shakespearean gift that he has and started telling me, oh, I just had to be careful. I just wanted to see because people are this and that, but I'm looking for romance and I'm looking for this. And then he would tell me things like, last night I had a dream and in the dream you were standing up on a cliff and I was standing there with you and the stars and the moon was out and we kissed. And I'm like, bro, like, first of all, that ain't that, they're like, what are you doing? Like, you trying to really, oh no, I'm serious now. That's Slim. When I tell you for months at a time, this is how this guy was coming at me, I was just thinking about you and us walking on the beach and all this type of stuff. So then, I started, believing him and, he started working his way into my head and into my heart. And what have you. And then finally, I think February of last year, which was 2023, we finally said, okay, let's give this a shot. That actually is crazy. February the 25th of 2023. And we started dating officially. He liked to try to say that we wasn't dating officially because in his mind, he gonna be mad what I'm about to say. Because in his mind, you only be faithful when you're married or you're someone's fiance. Slim, when I tell you he was a whore, he was a whore. You hear me, Slim? He was a whore.
So in my defense, like I guess like it's growing up because my family, like, I mean, they kind of knew it was there, but they didn't. And I kept it like real far to where, they wouldn't even have suspected. And, it's like I was lying to myself most of my life, you know what I mean? And to keep things bottled up, that led to, I mean, don't get me wrong, even to this day, I love me a good glass of wine. B knows it. Everybody knows it. A good glass of wine and a wine down and just chilling, watching TV. I love my alone time. but back then, you know, it would bring me to kind of like drinking my problems away. I wouldn't say like I get too drunk, but like you know, at the end of the day, like I'll get one beer, maybe two beer, and kind of like bottle up the emotions that I had, maybe 4 or 5. Okay. But you know, like bottle up my emotions. And so it's just like, you know, when I finally like addressed the situation and put it out on the table, because, you know, I had gotten to a point, where I realized that, you know, the things that people wanted me to be, or they thought that I was, you know, and like that's what kind of broke me off from, like, because I was doing sales for a long time before I came a chef. And I noticed that when I was talking to, you know, different people and try to sell them in different ways, I was becoming a chameleon and blending into who they wanted me to be, opposed to me being who I was. So subliminally, like when I would get home at night, you know, I don't even know who I am as a person, because I'm trying to be somebody else to a million different people. I'm trying to please everybody, but I'm not even taking the time to do that for myself. You know, so
Yeah.
I had to really break away and pray on it, and get myself in a good headspace. And I noticed that, you know, and it wasn't, it kind of was like tick for tat, because I was getting, you know, I was getting like love from B, which, you know, I'm not saying that I never got that from my family, because I did, like, absolutely, and I still do. You know what I'm saying? But I was getting a kind of love that was unconditional, you know, that was completely, you know, just sincere, you know, not so much as a tick for tat, where, you know, you only love somebody because they're doing something or this, that, and the third. So when I started receiving that, it changed my whole outlook on everything. You know, it flipped the script, and then, like, I was just like, you know what? You know, if people aren't with it, they're not with it. They're just going to have to accept that this is what it is now. And yes, I did get a lot of backlash, but honestly, I'd do it again.
And the reason why he got a
Yeah.
lot of backlash,
Let me ask this, Barry, you know, and I'm glad you come on. And Jay, you need to move over a little
I know,
bit.
I'm trying
So,
to.
you know, don't hide now. But I want to ask, you know, one of the reasons I'm glad you all came on, because I also had a one-on-one conversation with Clue Atkinson, and she was very candid. And the reason I wanted to do that, because there's so many young people out there that's struggling with their identity, and you know, and the suicide rate is high. So it's important for people that they can identify with, because it's so much. You know, the community can be so tough on it, you know, on people, and a lot of times it comes from people that are just like them. You know,
yes,
they haven't discovered themselves yet, so they are fighting it so hard that they are hard on the people that who they really are. So I think it's important, and I'm
right.
glad you all come up here talking about it. But you know, I'm glad you said that, Jay, and let people know that sometimes you just have to deal with it in any way you can. You deal with it through your faith. You know, the family is always there, and there's so many people out there that's hiding the truth and being able to live their true lives, and that can't be a good thing if you're not living out what you really are. You know,
Right.
you're
Yeah.
got that mask on, and you know, just hiding on, and internally that has to sort of eat up at you. You know, the
Right.
longer you have
Absolutely.
to
Yeah.
do it,
It will build up like crazy. You know,
and then you might
I've
act
I've
out
talked
on
to
something.
yeah, I've
Right.
talked to many people. You know, my little sister, you know, I you know, obviously I love her to death. She go to ECU, and you know, she's out there by herself, and I'm just like, look, you got to make sure, you know, because she suffers. You know, I hope she don't blow me up for talking about this, but she does. It's like, you know, and I feel like a lot of college students do this, have this as well, but they suffer from depression because they're so far away from their families that, you know, they feel like it's either getting bullied by their classmates or bullied by the teachers and this, that, and the third, and they feel like they're far. And like, honestly, if I have any advice to anybody who's trying to, like, you know, they're struggling with their identities because their family might think a certain way, or they're feeling like this, that, and the third, like, you got to understand that making yourself happy and completely surrounding yourself by just the energy and the presence of love is ultimately what's going to break you out of, you know, any kind of depression. For people hiding in the closet, this, that, and the third. So anything that people are suffering with internally, believe it or not, surrounding yourself with a lot of love is actually going to put you over that barrier and break you out of that box that everybody's trying to put you in.
And Barry, one more story I have to tell.
And I think
when
that's
I went to
what did it
college,
for us.
oh, when I went to college at Virginia Union my freshman year,
Okay.
and I think that was the first year we had male cheerleaders. The first school in CIAA or HBCU that had male cheerleaders. And this guy lived in Suffolk, so we would ride the bus coming home, and just riding the bus home talking to him. He said, when I go home to Suffolk, I have to change my whole persona, because on campus he was someone different, and when he went home, because his family hadn't accepted it, or he was afraid to come out to his family. This was in the 70s now, so might have been a little different for him, and he had to change his whole persona just to go home and be around it. And he only felt free when he was at school because he could be himself.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. And you know, and that's what I was going to go into prior to this. I think for me, I had things happen for a reason. Had I not been in the situation that I was in with the young lady that burned down my car, I probably would have accepted the same situation with him, because he's a ladies' man. When I met him, he was a ladies' man.
Try not to be.
When I met him, he was a ladies' man, and I had to just tell him straight up, look, I've been through this, I've been through that, and I'm not dealing with this. And I think 6 months down the road, and it's crazy because I didn't plan it like this. Like I said, we officially started dating on February the 25th of 2023, and we were arguing because, you know, he wanted me to do this, that, you know, little tedious thing, wash his clothes, just little stuff. But I said, look, you gonna marry me? And he said, okay. And I said, I was serious. And he said, and so am I. That's how that came out. So we didn't have, so even though he had all those
getting down on your knee and all that stuff, he just that was it.
He had all that. Even though he had all that those dreams of us walking on beaches and wasn't nothing romantic, it was just that, look, you gonna marry me. And he said, okay. And I said, I'm serious. He said, so am I. And this was in July. And I said, okay, we get married next month. And he said, okay, yes, we are. And then I called Cynthia Morrison and I told her, and she said, well, what about the 25th? And I said, okay. And I told him, he said, okay. And he and I and my grandchildren, we got together and we went down there and we did it. And when I tell you, to me, it was a burden relieved, lifted off of me, because when I tell you, I thought I broke the internet when I posted it online that we were married and what have you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
was crazy.
And it's been a very interesting journey of us still getting to know each other. We're now going on this February be year number 2, and then of course August of next year be officially married year 2. But we've definitely been like I said, 2 years going around the corner. I'm glad I said yes. I'm, you know, just like I said, just getting to know him. You know, he's fit in with my family. He's fit in with my community family. Everybody loves him. I can't go anywhere now, James, without people wanting to know where he at. I'm like, well, why y'all asking about him? It's about me. I'm here. Be happy I'm here. And they be like, yeah, but we want to see Jay. So yeah, and I was gonna run him for school board, Slim, and he was like, so I didn't push the issue, but I told him that I think you have a face that everybody would have wanted to come and look at two Thursdays out the month, you know, second and fourth Thursday of the month and what have you. So he kind of like, okay, but you know, I don't know. You never know what the future holds. So y'all get ready. You never know. So
never know what happens. So, you know, and timing is everything, because you think back not too long ago, it would have been illegal for same-sex
Yeah.
marriage. You know? And I think
Yeah.
the first state was like Massachusetts and Virginia. Well, now all 50 states it's legal, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken, right?
Yeah, I
But
believe so. Yeah.
it wasn't too long ago where, you know, you just have to be together, you know,
Yeah.
and marriage wasn't even in the picture.
Just had the shack.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
shack.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the legal part sort of helps, you know.
Oh, thank you, Jesus, for the legality of the law.
For real, you
Yeah.
know.
So,
But I mean, and also, you know, not to go like on a bad note or anything like that, but you know, it also makes you kind of like wonder, like, you know, how you know a lot of people had to struggle before it was legal. You know, like how many lives were lost in order for that to actually happen, to where people could actually live the way that they wanted to live.
oh,
You know,
oh, yeah.
so we're extremely blessed, you know, because of that, because of the people that came before us, you know, that were just shacking up and, you know, wanted to get married and had to get married secretly, you know what I mean, without, you know, the government being involved or everybody else being involved in their lives, you know. So, you know, we definitely pay homage to those that came before us and actually like fought for us to actually have the right to do that.
Yeah, as you think about Barry being in politics, you go back in the early civil rights days, like Mr. Rustin, you
Yes.
know, as valuable he was to the movement, he couldn't be out front. They had to send him home because of his lifestyle. And Barry,
Yeah.
you kind of out of the frame. We need to see all of you too.
Okay.
Okay, I was getting half of you, so.
Gotcha.
But anyway, yeah. So you know, it's good for those change and the people that really fought for change. And I think a lot happened during Obama's era. I think
Yeah.
the community
Mhm.
went to him and made certain things that they wanted to happen, and
Right.
he made it happen. Certain rights
Absolutely.
that weren't there before happened during his administration.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Jay, how, you know, I know you were prepared for, because I think Barry probably told you now, this is who I am. So when you go around me, it's gonna be a lot of people. It's gonna be overwhelming. How prepared were you for, you know, how involved he was in the city and Hampton Roads, as a matter of fact.
So so he like, all right, so he would tell me like all the time. He'd be like, yeah, like I'm really involved in politics and this, that, and the third. And I'll be like, all right, that's cool. Yeah. Like I was like, whatever that means, you know what I mean? But see, I'm the growing up. So growing up, I was always uh I was very, very stubborn. I was very hard headed. Like you could, and it, honestly, we still have this problem to this day. Like he'll tell me we got something planned, and then the next day, or maybe even an hour later, I ask him like, "Okay, so what we got planned?" or this, that, and the third. So it's like you gotta, like, I have to go through the experience in order for me to like really like grab hold of it. And so when he started bringing me out to certain things and introducing me to like, I'm telling you, like when I guess we started like going to like certain events or something like that, and he's introducing me to people, I'm telling you, like at least each event, you know, if not, I'm seeing like the same couple of people. I'm meeting like probably like 100 people a
Yeah,
night or a day.
and a lot of it, you know, and you have to admit, was curiosity from the
Yeah.
community.
And
They were
so
curious. They heard
One
about you,
day,
but they hadn't
James,
seen
he called me and said, I I freaked out. I said, "What you mean you freaked out?" He said, "Because I see you in the newspaper." I
yeah.
said, I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I tried to tell you, I tried to tell him, what he was walking into and what have you, and I don't think he really believed it and what have you. And then he started to see things. So now we go out places. So now that's why he was like, "Oh, why you have so many clothes? That doesn't make sense. Why you?" I said, "Because I go to a lot of events in the same year, and I don't like wearing the same thing."
And I do understand.
And now he's starting to see it, because at first he thought that I was just being vain and what have you. I'm like, no, we go around and we go to some great top-notch events. You be there, James.
Yeah.
And I look, so like, and obviously like before I met B, like, don't get me wrong, like I had like, you know, a decent amount of clothes, but like most of the time, like you catch me around the house, like even like right now, like, you know, like I'll have like a white t-shirt on and ball shorts. Like I chill out the house. Like I'm very, very simple. You know what I mean? So going from simple to
extravagant.
Not so
Not
simple.
formal.
What it is, James, I'm introducing him to his black side of his family. My
Black
husband
side,
is
yeah.
mixed.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
my husband is mixed. His father's white, his mother's black, which makes him technically a white man. That the irony of that, right? As much as I would be out there rallying,
he says that, but we're not acknowledging that at all. We're not acknowledging.
Yeah, it wasn't until after we got married to where I started to see some things where he would be like, B, why does we don't have to eat fried chicken every day. I don't like eating fried chicken.
I said that because
I think I saw that on the video.
Yes.
Yeah, but there are healthier alternatives than doing fried foods every night. Because I'm like, I go to like literally before well, you know, we did this. I just got home from the gym and I'm just like, you know, like you can work out as much as you want to, but if you're following a bad diet, it's not really going to make a difference.
And then he also said, why do we have to smother everything?
Everything don't got to be smothered.
I just took offense to that. I just felt like that he was taking jabs at our culture.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with
how is he with seasoning? How is he with seasoning? Does that black side come out when it comes to seasoning?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, because he's a
what they
really
say,
good cook. With the exception of one thing, Jane. He wanted to do some potato salad, and he wanted to put raisins in the potato salad.
See, and no.
So I'm just telling you right now, don't ever let him bring the potato salad.
So he spread this thing. I forgot what it was.
I didn't spread it, Jane. I like to eat raisins. He asked me, could he do the potato salad for one day, I think for Thanksgiving last year. And I was like, no, the raisins was on the counter. I was like, are you going to use those raisins? And he was like, no, but I felt like that was a lie. He was gonna put those raisins in the potato salad.
If you hadn't caught it.
Everybody that's live as of right now, and in my past, never have I ever put raisins in my potato salad, nor will I do it.
Okay, so watch this,
Okay.
Jay.
Never have I done
Watch this, Jay.
here.
What do you prefer, Jay? Pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie? I'm asking you. Do you prefer pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie?
Sweet potato.
Okay, so look,
so he thought he was like, I make a mean pumpkin pie.
I do,
and
though.
People love pumpkin pie. I said, baby, in our community, we like sweet potato pie. He was like, no, you don't. So he went down the list of people. We had people on the line, and he was walking. Do you want sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie? And they were like, sweet potato. And his feelings was hurt because he did not imagine that many black people want sweet potato pie.
Okay, so it was that day. I realized that pumpkin pie was a white people thing, and not a black people thing. But here's the thing, though. I literally make pumpkin pie from scratch. You get what I'm saying? So, and I can do the same thing with sweet potato pie. I just like the pumpkin because I think you can doctor it up more. The sweet potato has like such a sweet taste to it that you can only kind of stick to one key, you know what I mean? Like key sweetness with it.
The pumpkin pie, you can just do anything to it.
Yeah,
you have a broad range
of raisins in it.
So that's the only reason I would
use the raisins in it.
Yeah. So,
oh God.
No, but I don't put raisins in honestly anything that I cook.
I have not let him make the potato salad since I've been with them. Okay, just want to let y'all know.
Just in case, but he just declared right here on Slim Nation 101 that he doesn't put raisins in it. So you have to take it for that. Yeah. Let me ask you, gentlemen. Something. Do you have the opportunity to talk to young couples, a male or female, that might be struggling with their identity, or is that something you gonna look forward to in the future? Because, like I mentioned before, the suicide rate is kind of high in that community with people that have to suppress, especially when your mother or your father turns their back on you. It's already, and especially with social media now, everybody can come at you You know, it's not just the person sitting next to you in class. It's people that don't even know you can come at
Yeah,
you
internet
with
trolls.
just thinking you might be a certain way, or you know, have a preference.
Right. Well, that's
My
definitely something that we're going to do more of. Actually, Pastor Earl's wife, First Lady Karen Earls, it was such an honor for Jay and I. She had us to reach out
For
to a young couple that she wanted us to talk to, just to give them some encouragement, because, you know, they were just kind of coming out of the closet as well. So we definitely will be doing more of that. And that's something I said I want to do, because it's funny, Jane. Someone asked me, they was like, "Are you and your husband really married?" I said, "Yes." They were like, "Well, y'all two don't come across gay." I said, "I'm like, so wait." I was like, I don't know. So Darrell, the guy who I introduced you the other day, I introduced him to Darrell Williams the other day, the guy that always telling
no,
people you
you sorry.
sorry. Yeah, and Darrell was like, "Are y'all like gay? I said, "Well, what's gay? He told me something like, you know, do y'all
yeah,
actually have intercourse?" And I said, "No, dog. We just rub shoulders on each other and say, you know, good night and go in the opposite room." We just started laughing, and I get it, because I guess it is something new for us. I guess it's something that we do have to, you know, going forward down the road, you know, to give some others hope and what have you, because I guess people are so used to seeing people that may identify as gay as being overtly feminine.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
And yeah, that was something that, like, you know, obviously, and let's see, a lot of people are probably confused with that as well. You know what I mean? Especially, like, you know, younger adults and stuff like that. You know, they think that you got to be completely flamboyant and out there and this, that, and the third. And like, when people meet me personally, like, I'm none of that. But that still
mhm.
has nothing to do with you know, my character and this, that, and the third. But how I, you know, my preference, you know, should have no effect on what my sexuality is at all. You get what I'm saying? Like, how I decide to carry myself should not have to have like effects on how everybody else treats me. You know what I mean?
and I'm
So
gonna tell you something else, James. He and I will go places, and I will say, "This is my husband, Justin," or he will introduce me as his husband, Barry. And I'm just telling you, and he knows the truth, because he'll be like, "Don't they know we married?" Women will still try to holler at him.
you know,
Well,
They will
just like
still try to,
just same thing with men. You know, if they know, or they find out a particular lady they like might be gay,
yeah.
it's a notch on their belt. They feel like
yeah,
they can turn her around,
yeah,
Well, you're
and
right. That's what, because
it's the
he
same
asked
way.
me. Yeah, we was at an event, and some particular young lady, and I know some people may feel, "Oh, that's disrespectful." I'm not the jealous type, because I feel like, not because I'm just not. When it comes to him, you have to be a special kind of person to deal with him.
Mhm.
So in my mind, male or female, if you are fortunate enough to
yeah.
get him,
I'm a headache.
you're gonna send him
I'm a
back.
headache.
You know what I'm saying? You are definitely
Mhm.
going to send him back. So I don't even, you know, I can be where I'm doing work in a room. He like you was there Saturday. You know, I
Mhm.
was working busy. He was over there entertaining and being himself. Because at the end of the day, I know he's coming home with me. So I don't have the energy to try to figure out this. And then I constantly get it. And you know, in the beginning, it was kind of getting on my nerve. But then I just had to say, Barry, you know, he is attractive. So let it be what it is. Because, you know, I will constantly hear, "Oh my God, your husband is so gorgeous. Oh my God, your husband is so attractive. Oh my God." That's what I constantly hear. And then he and I went to an event. And while we were sitting at the table, the young lady was just like, "So what's your number? Because I want to, what's your Instagram?" And I just started laughing, you know, because to me, I was just like, wow. But, you know, I didn't get mad or offended or what have you. He was over there feeling cheap because he didn't know what to do. He didn't know if he could give her the number and how I would react and all this type of stuff. And I know him very well, but he's very not embarrassed in a bad way. When he's embarrassed or his emotions, he gets really red and he smiles really hard and his cheeks get really flushed and what have you, and he doesn't know what to do. So I was like, oh, his Instagram is so and so and so and so. I went on and told her his Instagram for him because he didn't know what to do. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So when we got in the car, I was like, oh, she was really coming on hard. He was like, well, why was she doing that? She know we was married. I said, they don't care, Jay. They don't care.
You'd be
It's
surprised. Like
the
they
same way.
really do not at
Same
all.
way in any kind of relationship. People don't care. You know,
Yeah.
they see something they like, they go for it. But let me ask you
Yeah.
this now. You've always been a pastor in the church and things like that. And you know how church has always been, well, people find stuff in the Bible to interpret it the way they wanted to. But it was always,
Right.
and you know the saying, it was always funny in the church where people would put down people that were gay. But every
Yeah,
church choir
he
member
made
was
Adam and Eve, not
choir
Adam and
director.
Steve. Yeah.
Yeah, every
Oh,
church's choir
yeah.
director was gay in a lot of instances. So it was sort of like hypocritical there. So how does that work? With you as far as the church, and certain people that profess that it's against what's in the Bible and it's against any church rules. How does that work out with you? And is it opening it up a lot more than it used to be?
I think it's a little bit different. However, it has changed for me. I was always preaching out a lot. I was always inviting certain individual pastors a lot. I reached out last year to invite a particular pastor from out of town, and I had to respect him, because he was honest. He could have just lied and said, he had another engagement. He came straight out and said, hey, I really want to come, but certain pastors have told me don't because it's going to kill my congregation and this, that, and the third, because then that's me. He was like, that's me condoning your lifestyle. And I didn't have the energy to go into what the Bible said and what's right, wrong, because at the end of the day, I know plenty of people other than myself that is still practicing homosexuality and publicly identifying as a heterosexual male
Mhm.
pastor. You understand what I'm saying? And female
Mhm.
pastors. Female pastors get away with it a whole lot better than male pastors because, you expect women to be close. Oh, that's my armor bearer. You don't even look at
Mhm.
anything funny. When you're a male pastor, you and that male armor bearer always going to dinner, always with each other. People start to whisper. One thing I can say, and I give the utmost respect to my Portsmouth pastor, Pastor Chance, Pastor Dr. Kelvin Turner, my guy, Dr. Melvin Mariner, Bishop Jerome Williams, Dr. Blunt, Dr. Reverend Earls, a few others too, but definitely our core pastors have not treated me differently. And so to me, they don't even know this. I'm glad you asked this because people say, how are you able to do what you do and have the curtain? Because of those gentlemen right there, they still respect me and I'm home. I don't care about the pastors in Norfolk that don't agree with me. I don't care about the pastors in Virginia, if that kind of makes sense. Because right here at home, I have pastors of great reputable notability and notoriety, and they respect me. So that makes me feel comfortable. Now, if those guys that I named was shunning me, and Norfolk and Virginia Beach shunning me, that probably would get under my skin because then I would feel like I'm in the middle of the ocean without a life raft. But because I still have a Dr. Williams and a Dr. Marin and a Dr. Turner and a Dr. Blunt and a Dr. Chance and what's his name? I watch him all the time over at Ebenezer. I think he's a great teacher.
Yeah. It slipped my mind. I'll
You know what
probably
I'm
think
talking
about
about?
it when the show ends, but I know who you're talking about, Ebenezer Church.
Yeah. I think yeah, I thank God for these guys. You know what I mean? Fourth Baptist. I thank God for these guys. So I'm good. You know what I mean? The pastor that's now pastor of Pastor Melvin Cotton. That's my ace. That's my guy. He right here at Mount Carmel. And then the new pastor over at that took over for Pastor Warren Emily. I know of him. So I'm good. And then also this helps me because I can't do phony. You know me, James. I can't do phony. You know, it don't come across right. So I feel bad. I'm praying for a lot of those pastors. I'm praying for a lot of those musicians, you know, the pastors up there preaching, y'all sisters going to hell, and God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. And it may be strong enough for a man, but it's made for a woman. And the choir directors, preach, but he's preaching about you. You know,
Right.
he's talking about you. You know what I mean? And you got to understand, because we were made and we were taught to hate ourselves. So I'll use this as an example, my husband, because his mindset, which is a beautiful thing, and maybe I don't give him enough credit, you know, in these instances, he has a beautiful mind. He like, oh, let's go visit Bishop Macbeth. Oh, because he used to go to Courtland Macbeth Church. He like, oh, I want let's go visit Bishop Macbeth, and let's go visit pastor over here. And I'd be like, hold it, baby, calm down. You know, your heart is in the right place, but I would just I could handle it because I'm used to it, but I don't know how he would handle it, to be shunned just because he's in an openly homosexual relationship marriage. You understand what I'm saying? So I'll be trying to tell him, no, let's because our church service at 9, we out about 10:15, 10:30 the latest. So we still out in time to go visit out. And it's not that I'm hiding, it's just that I don't want him to be crushed, because people don't know. We told people a long time ago, sticks and stones will hurt your bones, but may break your bone, but words will never hurt you. That's not true. You know, people that you respect, and I don't want to speak for Bishop Macbeth. I know him, he know me, but I haven't seen him since I've been married to him, you know, to this man. So I don't know how Bishop Macbeth would respond to us. You understand what I'm saying? So in my mind, I don't even want to put him on spot. You know what I mean? Because I don't want his feelings to be crushed and hurt, because in his mind, and I want his mind to stay like this. He see the good in everybody. You know, I be telling him, Jane, when he was down there working the polls for us last week, he was come home. Oh, so I said, that's the enemy. You don't talk to that person. That's the enemy. He like, but they was nice. I don't care. That's the enemy. And I shouldn't be telling him that. But my point is, he see the good in everybody. You know, he's down there talking to everybody, and he don't see no wrong in everybody. And that's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? Because really, that's how life should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We should
it should be that way, but it's good to know, you know, who your enemies are. I mean, well, not quite enemies, but who you should be careful around. You know, I'll put it that way.
Right.
Jay,
Right.
Jay, we're coming to an hour, but Jay, I want to ask you, and this is about, you know, being, you know, having a mixed parents, white father.
Yeah,
White father and black mother. I just wanted to know, and not asking who you're going for in politics, but how was it when you see Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, being treated the way she is because of her mixed heritage, and she's always identified as being black, which in most cases that's the way they're going to see you. If you're mixed, you're going to be seen that one way, but it's good to appreciate both sides. Good to appreciate both sides, though, you know, because you come from both sides.
It's like, you know, see, like a lot of people, look, I'm not even going to sit here and like run around the story, but I don't think it's aware enough. I don't think it's aware enough of how, like, so I'm for real when I say this too. I don't think people understand what it's actually like being mixed, because I grew up, it's, you know, to all white people, I'm black, and to all black people, I'm white. And it's like, you never really get to win as much as you try to just like be yourself and like self-identify who you're comfortable with. You're still going to get viewed that way. But the long story short is that you're living both sides of the spectrum. And honestly, believe it or not, it's like borderline racism too. You know, it's not like hatred, but it's minor racism that you actually have to deal with. And like you know, I don't like sharing too much about you know, my family, but you know, the stereotype was actually reversed on me. Like, my mom's black and my dad's white, but my dad, the last time I saw him was my 10th birthday. So he's the one, you know, that ran out, and he's the white guy in the situation. So it is It
We get
is.
the bad rap.
I mean, I hate to say it, but that's what happened. That's what happened. But it seems like you never can really win in that instance. All you can do is and this is where like what I was talking about earlier. Everybody has to really learn to love themselves and just be themselves, regardless of mixed, black, white. It doesn't matter, because if people know you as a person, does the stuff even really matter at that point?
And it wasn't a
You know what I
choice
mean?
you made.
You can't help. Yeah, it wasn't a choice that she made. You know what I'm saying? But I mean,
made.
Yeah,
but granted, but he did tell me the other day, James. He ain't no secret. He told me we voting for Kamala Harris. That's what he said. That's what he told me. He said we voting for Kamala Harris. That's what he came in the house and told me. And I was too tired. I think I ain't even put up a fight. I just said okay, because it was just like okay. But that's what he told me last week.
I just thought that was weird, out of all the qualifications and all the things, she had going for, that would be an issue, so.
Right.
Yeah. But that's the way it is.
But he's right.
People see it.
But he shared a story with me, and he told me one time, because I would ask him all the time, be like, so how did you work around all those white people and them racist jokes? He like, well, they tried not to talk around me like that, but sometimes stuff got out. But then he told me, James, he said he was talking to a girl, and her dad found out that his daughter was talking to him, and whatever word they use for mixed, chinks, or whatever, I can't remember to the degree, but he told me that the girl dad didn't like him, and she brought him around him like, oh, I heard the dad basically like, I heard you one of them. So I said, well, how did that make you feel? He said, didn't make me feel no kind of way. I said, so what did you do? He said, I had sex with his daughter.
Yeah. Take that. Take that.
Anyway, it has been fun, James. Thank you for bringing us on.
Thanks for coming on, and thanks for being open and honest. And I was curious that last question I asked you. I was just curious about that, because I know, I don't know, but I can imagine what people go through. They're mixed. You're not accepted here. You're not accepted there, or people always trying to identify where you're coming from. But I'm just me. I'm just me.
Yep,
I'm just Jay.
Who I was born.
Right.
You had no choice in that matter. But anyway, thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you coming on and talking, and hope we get a chance to do this again. And
back, come, check in with us a couple months from now, and 6 months, and let's get going. Listen, guys, get out and vote. Vote, please. Vote.
Indeed.
I ain't gonna tell you who to vote for, but I know the two of us, if not the three of us, is voting for Lisa Luskis-Burt for mayor for the city of Portsmouth. Vote.
Don't be one of those people out here complaining about something and don't go to the poll and do nothing.
Absolutely.
Don't sit on the couch. We need every one of those votes. Your vote does count. Your vote does count.
Yes.
Thanks again, gentlemen. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good evening. And I hope Senator Kane, y'all were competing against Senator Kane, I think. Senator Kane.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But the good thing about us, trust me, Jane, look at your views when you post this, and then when you wake up tomorrow morning, it's gonna be a whole lot more. That's because people are gonna go back and watch it.
Oh yeah, that's the way it always goes. I remember you used to always say, I know y'all watching, and I found that out too. People don't let you know that they're watching, but they be watching.
Oh yeah, listen, they see you going live right now. They ain't gonna come on it because they don't want you to see it. They're gonna wait till this to go off, and then they'll go back and look. And that's fine, because we get it. Everybody's not upward and way, like I said, and we'll get opportunity to come back again and talk. Like my husband, he the type, he'll just let people, me, Jane, I'm gonna set the record straight. My husband, he gonna just want to be nice. And what you're saying is so much more things in life to be worried about than he's very easygoing. I can tell you right now, he can say what he want to say. If we have a child, because we've been discussing that, I would be the black parent, he will be the white parent, because he doesn't believe in fussing and beating and popping and all this stuff. He put my grandchildren in corners. Can you believe that, James? He put my grandson
Corners.
corner. Yeah, I'm like, what is a corner? I said, man,
So
if you don't pop them, he talking about something. You don't get a kid, B. I said, oh God, that's that whiteness coming out you.
But look, you
All right.
might calm him down. So because you sort of went off about that sign leading up to the Senator Lucas sign.
Oh my God.
I saw you.
He'll tell you I was hot. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
I was angry because I want stuff to be done right. And if we're gonna do
Right.
it for everybody else, we can do it for our own.
That's right.
We're better together, James. Thank you for bringing us on, okay?
Thank you. Take care, and I'll see you next time. All right, thanks
God bless.
everybody for watching. I appreciate the ones that are watching, that are brave enough to show that you're watching. Hello, thanks a lot, and thanks a lot. And we'll see you next time.
It's time for us to sit down at the table and turn this chaos into something stable. For love, one-on-one. We will not accept defeat, not on our land, not in our streets. Getting it done. Reaching out to save the youth, letting them know the truth. Slim Nation is where good conversations dwell. Positive affirmations where make a strong nation as we spread the love. Slim Nation is where